Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to give you a basic overview on how to run and cut material using the horizontal bandsaw here in our shop. But before we start, please remember to follow and observe all safety guidelines. Alright, so very quickly I'm going to go over the different parts and features of a horizontal bandsaw. The upper portion here is known as the arm, and you always lift up the arm using the handle here. The lower portion of the machine down here is known as the vise. Over here we have the blade tension adjustment knob, which we can use to set the tension on our blade. Alright, if we turn it clockwise, we can increase the tension on our blade, and if we turn it counterclockwise, we can decrease the tension on our blade. And right here we have the blade guide or guard, and the blade guide should be adjusted so that we get nice straight cuts without breaking the blade. And we always want to adjust it and slide it as close to our workpiece as possible, but not touching it. And to adjust it, we simply turn this knob here counterclockwise, and we can slide it in or out, and when we get it where we want it, we simply tighten it clockwise. And over here we have our vise, which we use to secure and clamp our workpiece or material. This is the stationary portion of the vise, and this is the movable portion of the vise. And to tighten our vise, I'm going to lift up the arm here. We'll turn our jogwheel handle here clockwise to tighten the vise, and counterclockwise to loosen the vise. And right here we have the coolant valve lever, which we can turn to adjust the rate or flow of coolant. And right here we have the power switch used to turn the machine on or off, and it's worth noting that when you're done cutting, the machine will automatically turn itself off. And down here we have the coolant switch used to turn our coolant on or off. Alright, and finally over here we have the hydraulic feed rate lever, which I can use to adjust the rate at which the blade descends downward. So notice, if I lift my arm up and I place my lever in an upright position, my blade is held in place. And as I start to lower the hydraulic feed rate lever, notice what happens. My blade starts to descend downward, and as I turn it even more, it moves even faster. And to adjust blade speed, we can use these different settings here to cut different materials. For harder materials like steel, we want a feed rate of about 86 feet per minute. Okay? And for softer materials like aluminum, we want a feed rate of about 260 feet per minute. So to actually adjust the blade speed, we need to move the belt in here to these different positions on our two different pulleys. So if I open it up, okay, by simply adjusting the belt here, we can get our desired feed rate speed. And in order to move our belt here to these different positions, we're going to need to loosen these two pulleys. And to loosen these two pulleys, there's a couple of bolts over here that we can adjust, all right, to loosen the tension on the pulleys so we can move our belt. All right, so when you're ready to cut your material, the first thing you want to do is always measure and mark off your workpiece. All right, so the next thing you want to do is go ahead and lift the arm using the handle here to its vertical or upright position. Next, go ahead and grab your workpiece or stock material, slide it into the vise so that the mark that you made earlier is out past the vise here. Now we're going to go ahead and carefully lower the arm so that our blade sits about 2 to 3 inches or so above our workpiece. So to do this, go ahead and grab the handle on the arm and start pulling the arm downwards. Okay, and I'm going to let it come down until my blade is about 1 inch or 2 or so above my workpiece. I'm going to hold it in place using the handle, and while I hold it in place where I want it, I'm going to come over here to the hydraulic feed rate lever, and I'm going to push it in its upright position to hold the blade in place. Now I'm going to adjust and slide my workpiece so that the mark that I made previously is directly beneath the blade. Once I have my workpiece in position, I'm going to come on over here to the vise jogwheel, and I'm going to turn it clockwise to secure my workpiece and make sure it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to adjust my blade guide here so that it's as close to the material as possible but not touching it. And then I'm going to tighten this knob to keep it in place. Once that's done, let's go ahead and turn our machine on. Let's also turn our coolant on. And I like to get my coolant so that it's kind of coming out at a trickle like that. Okay, and now we want to go ahead and start lowering our blade onto our workpiece to cut the material. So once our coolant's on, our blade's moving, to start cutting our material and lower our blade, come on over to your hydraulic feed rate lever and start turning it downward to start cutting. Take a step back. And that's how you cut material using the horizontal bandsaw.